Hi guys, Vinny here. Today I'm going to talk about my road bike, which since April is the S-Works Venge. Now, when I got it, I was really happy about it, and I didn't really find any issues with it. But as with any other bike, there's a certain level of excitement at the beginning that can overshadow the possible downfalls, which you only realize later on. It was also the case with my Madone. So, how does this bike stack up after a couple of months of riding? I've put 5,500 kilometers on it, which is not that much, but I have 3 other bikes that I ride and race, and road racing wasn't my focus this season. But still, I put a decent amount of time in the saddle of this machine. So, how have my feelings and impressions changed? Well, I can report that nothing dramatic has happened, uh, and the general outlook of this bike is still pretty damn good. So let me explain why. And to describe that, I have to go back again to my old bike, which was the Trek Malone, and my problem with that bike. It was, and I really noticed that in the races when I was on unknown roads, is that I had a bit of a lack of confidence when descending, because that bike felt a little bit firm and skittish on the front end, and this feeling was topped off by braking performance that wasn't really what you would expect. Wasn't really that good, so I was a bit of a timid descender on that bike. Then I got on this bike and it changed completely, and it was down to 2 things, of course. Disc brakes with their excellent modulation and stopping power, but also thanks to the right quality of the frame set. Now, to describe it, this frame set, it rides like basically it's glued to the ground. It has very good confidence inspiring handling and grip in the rough stuff in fast descents, both front and rear. So you get that reassuring feeling of grip, which I didn't have on the Madone, and then it's just supported by the brakes. So on that front, I'm very happy with it. Then a lot of people have asked if it's faster. Well, this question is a bit hard to answer because I have a completely different position on this bike, much more aggressive. So yeah, I am faster. If it's down to the position or the bike, I can't really say, but the frame set is very fast indeed. There are numbers backed it up, and my numbers just confirm that. So aerodynamics wise, it has to be up there. Then people have asked me if it feels okay to climb. I don't know what answer they expect from this question, because reviewers in magazines and on websites have really a lot of ways to describe these feelings, but I don't have them. Every bike in the world climbs according to what power to weight you put on the pedals and in the saddle. So this bike climbs very fast if you put the right amount of power, because it's light and it's stiff. Certainly stiff enough for me. Although I'd like to point out that some riders say that I'm not a good person to judge stiffness of the bike. For example, I have a friend who says that any bike is stiff enough for me while it's not stiff enough for him. The truth is, I weigh 60 kilos or less, maybe now. He weighs 100, but we are doing the same power. And this is the crucial bit, because if you're doing the same power, then and you are doing the roughly a similar cadence, no matter what you weigh, you are putting the same amount of force in the bike. So yeah, not sure how that works out in the stiffness front, but that's something just to keep in mind. Nevertheless, this bike weighs 7.1 kilos as it is, complete with the Wahoo, etc. So it's a very light bike. Plus you got the added aerodynamics. So there's a good chance it will be very fast in climbing too, or anywhere, because yeah, low resistance all around. Then if you talk about the individual features of the bike in terms of practicality, what I really like in Specialized bikes are the nicely made through axles, front and rear, flush with the fork and the frame, nice little brass cup or cone under the head so you're not wearing out the carbon in the fork. Very good design. Also a nice tip on the end so you're always in the right spot. You can't really cross thread. Also the installation points, at least on this particular frame, very nicely and squarely finished off. So on some frames and forks, setting up a flat mount caliper can be a disaster because of this, because of uneven surfaces and the surface not being completely square to the rotor. Here it's no problem, you can set it up easily. Then the fork uses no crazy hinge design or super narrow headset or anything like that. Nice large bearings up and down, so no issues with creaking, getting loose in the headset or anything like that. You cut the steerer and that's it. Standard expander plug, standard front end. Very simple stuff, very simple to work on, and I had no issues with it whatsoever despite riding in all kinds of weather. Then going to the seat post, can be a bit of a problem on some of the integrated designs. This one nice, light and compliant. The wedge doesn't slip, doesn't bind, doesn't creak. Same for this clamp, all very nice, although you get a bit of annoyance with a side clamp design like this, because you have to change the ears based on what seat rails you have on there, but that's not that much of a big issue. Then the bottom bracket, people like to criticize the BB30, but the truth is, if you take care of it, if you put in a high quality unit like this, can't really see it, but it's a Kogel dub with road seals. No creaking, no problems, no fitment issues, nothing. I don't really know I have a bottom bracket in there, which is how it should be. So yeah, every part of the bike works exactly as it should. Derailleur hanger, quite robust, no need to touch it just yet. So very practical, very simple to maintain and build. Very nice all around. One annoying thing, which is not unique to this bike to be honest, but it happens, is the fact that if you turn the bar far enough, the flat section of the tops is colliding with the top tube, which is not ideal, and it can be solved with a headset with a steering stop in it, which could potentially save your frame in the event of a crash, because this, if it hits violently enough, the carbon here doesn't need to be very strong structurally, it will just break or at least delaminate, so not ideal. Of course, if you have a bottle in there, it kind of dampens the impact and it doesn't allow it to collide, but in a crash that might not be enough. So this is a bit worrying. You have to be careful when manipulating the bike, but really I haven't found any issues. Comfort wise, fit wise, performance wise, quality wise, everything so far is top notch. So if you're looking at this point in time for a great all-round aero race bike, then I think you need to look no further than the S-Works Venge. So that's all for today about this bike. If you want to know more about my other bikes that I use myself or just work on, then don't forget to tune into the channel and subscribe. It's all for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.